pinball prices. Let's have a look at that. Hey guys, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look at a magazine called Replay Magazine. It's an operator's trade magazine for arcade owners, fun set owners, fun entertainment center owners and things like that. This particular magazine came out in January of 2003. And it holds a little bit of significance in my life, and I'm sure other people's as well. At that time, I was in my 5th year in the business, working for Namco. At that time, one of our highest earning games was Time Crisis 2. And this is the magazine where they unveiled Time Crisis 3. So we're going to see a lot of stuff in this magazine that you've definitely seen before. You go, oh man, I remember that game. And then some other stuff that is just gone. Even this game, right now they're up to Time Crisis 5. So in comparison, but this game was huge for Namco and for the operating division of Namco, which was called Namco Cybertainment. That's where I actually worked. We ran in a Land's Castle, and we actually received a brand new standard edition Time Crisis 3. So it has the smaller monitors, the 27 inches. This is the deluxe in the picture here, and a lot of these people are gone now. I think this guy's name was Kinji. I do remember him. I don't remember too many of these other people. I want to say that guy's name was Frank. I can't remember names. I'm sorry. But these are mostly salespeople. These are most likely people at Namco of America. Some of these poor guys back here in green, those are probably from Cybertainment. Those are the shirts that we used to have to wear. I actually have one still. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at this. We'll take a trip back through time, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Right off the bat, when you open her up, you see an ad for Rockola. Rockola used to make jukeboxes. They used to make some of the best jukeboxes. This is the Rockola Bubbler, right here. And you'll see industry news. And before ArcadeHeroes.com, this was kind of the only place to get the news. As I'm sitting in the arcade, we didn't have internet in there. You get internet at home on dial-up, but we didn't have smartphones that were cheap enough or even available with decent quality. So as you can see, you get a little bit of a taste of what the news were and what an operator would actually give us care about. And Congress and internet gambling, that's a big deal for some operators. You can see Tsunami releases the new Air Raid game, Prime Choice. The highest rated games this month, the Player's Choice. The #1 game by operators was Gold Zone, which a lot of you still probably played that game. Second would be Raptor Captor. You still see those around. Cyclone, still see that around. It's almost in every arcade. Wonder Wheel, it's getting to be phased out. Number 5 is Titanic, which you probably won't see around very much. If you do, it's mostly broken. It's a really bad conceived game, if you ask me. We got Wheel of Fortune, which is another Cyclone kind of game. And then number 7 has Jungle Jive, which is a coin pusher. And then Wheel and Deal way at the bottom. So let's continue on. We got some news bites there. As you can see, we have some ads from Innovative Concepts for the new plush bus cranes. They came in, obviously different. This is where they're advertising where you can get your machine custom made. Namco made a bunch of custom ones. There's some theme from McDonald's here. Denny's, probably seen some of those around. And then on the other side, we also have an ad for another game from ICE, is Hammerhead, which was a pretty decent whacking game. You still see this game around from time to time. I like that game. It's had a small footprint. So, not too bad. Let's move on. And then we get to, this would essentially be like the Billboard Charts for the arcade. Every Replay magazine would have this. It would basically, if you were a Replay subscriber, they would send you a card in the mail. And you would basically write down what were your top earners and how you would rank it. they give you like a number, if I believe. It's been so long. And if you look, let's take a closer look here. This table's not the greatest, but let's see if I can get a better shot of this for you guys. If you look at it, best upright video game, ranked by operators at the time, was Golden Tee 2003 Tournament Edition, and it's an 8.8 average. I think they give you a 1 through 10 average or something, I don't remember. And then after that, it'll show, let's zoom in a little bit, it'll show distribution of the game. There we go. That means how many operators actually reported having this game. And if you also look at best video software, and this is a category which was eliminated later. This is essentially kit games. And if you'll notice, trophy hunting is number one. The 7.69 rating and a huge distribution. It was a cheap game from Sammy. Almost every operator had it. You know, it makes money. Still does, actually, if you have one. Obviously, it's not too far behind with Soul Calibur 2, which had a pretty wide distribution at the time, just because the company I worked for, every single Namco location almost got one of those kits. And then you go down farther, you got Big Buck. You see some classics on here, Capcom vs. SNK, another Big Buck. These are before Raw Thrills took it over. Actually, I don't think Raw Thrills was even around yet at this time. Well, maybe they were. They were very, I think maybe they had Target Terror. Maybe they came out the year after this. It's kind of sketchy. You go down farther, you can see, you know, NFL Blitz 2000. Even Strikers 1945 is on here. Later on, as the years went on, this category just became stagnant because the kits became less and less and less. You know, so let's zoom out and look at the best deluxe video games. At the time, it would have been the Vortex Beachhead 2000 thing. If you remember, that was like a VR headset that was mounted on the machine. You'd stick it on your head, it would spin around. It's kind of a neat thing. At the time, it was huge. It made a ton of money, but then it died really quick. Secondly was ATV Track, which is a Namco motion kind of simulator game. It was not bad. Dance Dance Revolution is up there, and I think they kind of mixed all the mixes together into one category. And then there's Beachhead, which was another version of the first one. And obviously you can see Time Crisis 2 still on here. Jurassic Park 3, which is, you know, an okay game. Mocap Boxing's a classic. San Francisco Rush 2049, that's a good game as well. And then if you look into the world of pinball, let's try to get a better view here. Basically the newest Stern machine, which was like 1 or 2 a year at the time, I think, would be number one. And it's because pinball was so stagnant at that time, and still sort of is, that, you know, Roller Coaster Tycoon, I'd be willing to bet, probably came out and had a pretty high distribution rate. Sharky's Shootout, Medieval Madness was the one that you would see on here a lot. Monopoly, High Roller Casino, Attack from Mars is a good one. Now this is what they considered classic video games at the time, which I don't see why Mannix TT's Motorbikes, which is actually a Sega game, so there's a mistake in this. Daytona USA, game still makes money today. Simpsons, well, it makes a lot of money if you resell it. Galaga, you know, so let's zoom out of here. Woo! And somehow they had oldie pinball category. As if they needed that. Well, they got Revenge from Mars, Roadshow, No Good Go. All these machines nowadays fetch top dollar. So, you know. Countertop video games, which is a category I believe they've also eliminated, is which would be your touchscreen games, like your Mega Touches and stuff like that. Kind of irrelevant today. You can see Sega was really big at this time. This is when they were releasing Naomi, and they were driving all those games in the Naomi platform. You have Initial D, House of the Dead is actually later than Naomi, Crazy Taxi, Sonics, that's a redemption piece. The Maze of Kings is a hard to find game. So they're saying, hey, buy this game, it makes you a lot of money, you know. So Let's go ahead and move on. All right, when we move on, there's actually a whole nother Billboard chart for redemption games. You can see there's an ad for IAPA here. And some Bob Space Racer stuff. But it's definitely an ad for IAPA and Bob Space Racers. Oh, my bad. It's actually, they were an award winner of 2002 IAPA. So this is a Bob Space Racers ad. They made Whack-A-Mole, several. If you go to like Six Flags or Disney World or something, if you're in the Midway, the actual Midway, they make most of those games. So let's look at some of the redemption games here if we see any that we still know. I'd be willing to bet that if you go to Dave & Buster's, you've played at least one or two of these games. Alley Bowlers would be considered skee ball. So Ice Ball, number one at the time, that was actually a really new piece from Ice, and an 8-point sum average. For kiddie games would be little games for little kids. Number one would be like Wacky Ducks. You see some other games on here that you might know. Big Bertha. Mini Buzzy Bee, but you've seen that one before. For merchandisers, it'd be like, I want to say that those are, if they consider that a claw machine in this book. Yeah, they do. Those would be claw machines, Keymaster type games. At this time, Keymaster wasn't around. Most of these were all only skill-based. It would be illegal to manufacture the rigged ones, even though there's a sports arena in here. You see Gravity Hill was huge at this time, brand new. That was making huge amounts of money. Drill-O-Matic, which is a game you don't really see anymore from Benchmark. And Sports Arena, which you still see everywhere. That game is old as dirt. And if you're looking at novelties, which I don't understand what they consider a novelty, they have Raptor Captor here as number one. You can see some of the other ones. Tower of Power, you still see that one around. Pirate's Revenge. Some of them are gone from history. Horsing Around is actually the precursor to Speed Demon. And Coin Pushers, let's move on to those. We got Jungle Jive. You don't see that one too much anymore. Yeah, most things you don't see anymore. As you can see, we got some whackers. We got Hammerhead, Rabbit Racing, Wacky Gator. We love us some Wacky Gator. Cracky Crab, which is almost the same as Wacky Gator. Quick going games would be something like Smoke and Token or the coin rolls, or just a game that takes like 2 seconds. You can use Smoke and Tokens on here. Gold Zone was number one. Cyclone, which is huge numbers. There's no distribution in here, which is weird. They just have payouts. Kind of weird. Smoke and Token, I always said that. Titanic, which should just be thrown out of here. Shooting games, which would be like basketball, I guess, apparently. Super Shot, Full Court Fever. Yeah. Oh, no, those are sports games, my bad. Shooting games are up here. Quick and Crash. This is a cool game if you can find it. Silent Scope Token Shot, which you hardly ever see that anymore. I'd love to see one of those again. And then Roll Down. I don't understand what the difference between why Smoke and Token is not on the Roll Down one. Oh, okay, those are ball roll down games. My bad. It's been so long since I looked at this. Spin to Win, where the ball rolls down. There's not too many of those games, so let's move on. Let's see what other cool ads we can find in here. We got some Bob Space Racer action. You'll find some weird stuff in here. We got row jukeboxes. Missed them. Ads for records. Cool ad for Raptor Captor. Showing off how much money it makes. I believe that company's out of business as well. It was made by Lasertron or someone. Actually don't remember who makes that game. You'll see lots of articles talking about the business, how to make money. We're really interested in the games. So let's look at, Carnival King. This is new at the time as well. This is an awesome game. Spits out tickets too. Skeeter Ball, which is kind of it came after Gravity Hill. It's made from OK Manufacturing, same manufacturer. It's kind of like skee ball with a little ball. Kind of a neat game. You still see that one once in a while. Coin Crazy from Coastal. Don't really see that game anymore. Looks kind of cool. And then, of course, Time Crisis 3. Lots of memories of that game. What else we got here? Some cheap import cranes from Japan or China. Neo Carnival. So look at the prices out. I mean, this is cheap compared to today. That is cheap. And then we have a full page ad for full 2-page ad, my bad, for PGA Tour Golf. Well, this was pretty new at the time. They're trying to compete with Golden Tee. It was actually basically Tiger Woods Golf that they ported and took off the license. It's from Global VR and EA Sports. I actually like this game better because I played Tiger Woods, but it didn't catch on in the arcade. Golden Tee was too established. It's too bad. I actually have a video where we had one of these. Some stuff from IAPA, some pictures and different things, different people, lots of old games. And then we come to a full-page Baytech ad at the time, and these were brand new Speed Demon, Popcorn, which was sort of like Buzzy Bee, Light 'em Up, which is kind of like Big Shot, and Whistle Stop was new at the time. And this is 2003, so I mean, a lot of the games that you know from Baytech were not made yet. Moving on, we got some ad for a bill acceptor thing for your pool table. That's kind of cool. A lot of people actually probably bought that. You know, there's a lot of bar owners and stuff that did this. Kind of an offbeat game called Dream Hunting Conversion Kit, apparently. It says right there. You just landed in the USA. Feel the lifelike realism. Oh my god. Oh look, Baytech receives an award, one of many. We got some other stuff in here about people in the industry. If you get really bored, you read this crap. Ads for some Mega Touches. Look at these. These are so old now. Upright version. Ooh. It communicates with TouchTunes jukeboxes. That's pretty awesome. We got a yearbook. So this might be... That's right, this is the January edition. So you can see here we have kind of a trivia game. This is the gambling game. Actually, in this book, we'll have a listing of all the manufacturers of games. Golden Gopher Redemption game. Distributors wanted. You'll see this thing around. This is a fly-by-night thing. It probably went nowhere. Never seen it. I'm sure there's one out there somewhere. And there's an ad from Team Play. They're still around today. I think they make some of the new photo booths. At the time, they were making what would be like a retro game, which is kind of weird at that time. That was not pretty popular yet. And then they also made that goofy Star Trek Voyager game, if you ever seen one of those. Crazy. And then there's another ad for a different jukebox company here, which I've never heard of. Then you got some little ad for a little gumball thing. Oh, here we go. Too Small. This is the people that made Beachhead. I believe, maybe I'm wrong. This is an ad for the new Air Raid game that was in that motion cabinet with the big ball. Sometimes you see that around. Very rare. Most of them were destroyed. We got some crane machines from China. That's when I started coming over here. Some gambling games. You'll see a lot of gambling stuff in here. This is kind of an odd game from Namco. It's a Mazan. It's a sword fighting game. We have a little sword and it's motion controlled. This is all way before the Wii. And it was pretty cool, actually. The problem was the sword got broke. You know, people would whack each other with it. It had a lot of issues with the sensors. But when it worked, it was pretty cool. There was actually another game from Konami that I think it was copying, but I can't remember the name of that one as well. And this is marked 2002. So most of these games, this is January 2003, so most of it's 2002 stuff. And then Amadiro, sorry. There's a couple games from them. You'll see a bunch of these, Pump It Ups. Sorry for about the glare, guys. I'm trying to, this is the first time I recorded a book, so we got Pump It Up. You'll see Western Train from time to time. Musical chairs. You'll see the Hammerhead game from time to time. It's a whacking game with a screen. But I hardly ever see this real shooting thing. Maybe they have them by you, not by me. Who knows? And here's more manufacturers. These are the early arachnids. Well, not the early ones, but these are still around a lot of places. Those are that's one of the best-selling dart games in Wisconsin, I think. There's an ad for some pull tab machines and a weird bingo pinball machine, which is gambling in some state. Karaoke jukebox. Never heard of that. Case, you know. Get into the weeds here and you're going to start seeing some weird games. Here's another weird one from Coastal. Maybe you've seen one of our videos on this. It's Ghost Catcher. It's a goofy game. Doesn't work very well, but when it does work, it's kind of neat. But it's kind of weird to see an ad for that in here because we just got one. Let's move on. We got another ad for Row. You can see a lot of it's geared towards earnings. And as an operator, that's important. So, yeah, we got some more manufacturers. What is this? This is some Korean company. Hide and Seek. You're probably gonna find one of these and be like, who the hell made that? I have no idea. Crazy War. Another pool table manufacturer, Global, which I've never seen around here. These are the ones we usually see, Great American or Valley pool tables. Those are okay. No payments for 6 months. I'm in. Wait, no, I'm not. This is JBL. They're basically the main competitor to Megatouch. In the end, I think they made the best ones, but all irrelevant now. This is a Lasertron. It's an older redemption making company. A lot of fun. That's not gambling at all. Don't think I've ever seen one of those. Let's move on. Holy mackerel, look at her. You'll see a lot of girls appealing to old men operator owners. So, you know, sign of the times. It's NSM jukeboxes. They are a pretty decent jukebox company. Another weird redemption game called Rats. They don't even have a real photo of the machine, so who knows if it even made it into production. This is a redemption game with video screen. You can see the graphics back then. Not so good. Rainbow Crane. Weird ad. They've actually made a lot of those. Here's a good ad for Sammy's autonomous wave system. And this was pretty revolutionary at the time. You could get basically game cartridges and put them in there and switch out the control panels and switch the graphics and add a seat or a steering. Totally modular cabinet, totally neat. Kind of a Japanese-y kind of feel. This is actually based off the Dreamcast hardware, the Naomi hardware. And later on, Sammy actually ended up buying Sega. So it's what Sega Sammy now. At least it used to be. And wasn't that many good games for it. I do remember having to Demolish Fist, which is a pretty rad game. But otherwise, the operators, you know, these cabinets are weird. Operators are old-fashioned. You know, I think they're cool. If you ever find one, they're pretty neat. You'll see all kinds, of weird games in them now. I think Sega, there was a shooting sports game for it that was pretty popular. I've actually never seen this stuff here. I've only seen this portion and maybe that portion. But they also sold this as a kit, so sometimes you'll see these games in a regular cabinet. So, but this was neat. I kind of wish they would have pushed this more, just with better games. It always comes down to what software you have. Unfortunately, they didn't have the greatest. So, we have an ad for Smart Industries and Sim Arcades. This is one of those simulator things. Probably one or two, if any, in existence. Excuse me. This stuff is very expensive. They're trying to, these are fly-by-night things. And later on, we'll do an ad where actually our company is in one of these things. But that's for another day. Looking at Smart Industries, they have, let's see, Prize Time. You'll see a lot of these around today. These are hugely popular. Smart Ticket Centers, hugely popular. This Hollywood photo booth. Big Bertha. The only one that's kind of, I don't know so much about is this one called Gum Sucker. I don't really like that one. Don't like that name. It's move on. Oh, and here we go. We have an ad for Stern Pinball. Now, this is back in the day when they were advertising the Topps tournament system. And the game off the line at the time was, I believe, Roller Coaster Tycoon. And then their Playboy. You know, this really doesn't fit in today anymore, but at the time, you still see some of those in bars. But the tournament system was pretty neat. And I actually have one. And obviously, players, you could have it, every game you played had progressive, prize jackpots, and there'd be different things for the customer to, enter their name and then a PIN number, and we could figure out who won the tournament, stuff like that. It all run autonomously, so we didn't have to be there. Totally awesome. Unfortunately, it just, don't know why it never really caught on. Gambling laws, I suppose. But still a neat thing. Let's move on. Alright. And we have an ad for Touch Tune jukeboxes. These are God, I can't remember the names of these jukeboxes anymore. I used to know all this stuff. We don't have any anymore. What else we got here? Valley pool tables. Simply the best you can ever get right here. They made a foosball apparently. These are awesome pool tables. They're still around. Almost every movie you see a bar in will have these. Treasure chest cranes. You'll see these around a lot too. This is a pretty high seller. They don't work very good, but they're around. What else we got here? Oh, this is kind of neat. This was the, hard to see on this page. This is the Land Zone. And basically what this was an arcade LAN system where they actually have PC games, and you pay for time. There'd be a keyboard and mouse, and they'd all be linked to the internet. I think at the time you'd be playing like Counter-Strike, and I've actually seen one of these in Appleton, Wisconsin, back in the day at Funset Boulevard. That was there, and then it was gone. So I'm assuming it didn't make money. Why play at the arcade when you can just play at home? But still kind of a neat idea. Unfortunately, just too little, too late. Let's move on. We got some people looking for distributors. I don't know how many other ads we're going to find in here. Alright, time to upgrade if you have that, I guess. And we're going to get into the weeds here. American vending sales. See, we're into the... This is all basically the white pages for the amusement industry at the time. Moss Distributing, they're pretty decent. I like them. Shout out to my man Brent and Betson. Huge distributor now. They distribute all the Raw Thrills stuff. Huge. Not really too much else here. We're going to start skipping through this pretty quick. I mean, you could spend a lot of time in here just looking at everything. But we like pretty pictures, so let's see much more. You get to the end here, you get into the really weird stuff, because at the back is like, you get tokens, and I'm not really caring about that so much as well. This is a thick book. If you want to be a American Amusement Machine Operators Association member, it'll only cost you, depends how many employees you have, could be $1,200 a year. Jesus. Here's the one with the cards. No, that's a subscription card. Oh, here we go. Let's move on. You got American Changer. You'll see these change machines almost everywhere. Well, you used to, before the card system came around. But I bet you've seen one of these in your life. Look at the prices. Whoa, man, I wish I could get those like that for now. Oh, wow. This is probably like $5,000-$6,000 now, so you can see the price increase. ICT bill acceptors, they're okay. Let me see anything else here, guys. Let's keep going. See if we can find anything cool. I've probably read this book already. Firestone's still around, I know that. this? Sure Shot Redemption. Look at that. An ad for toys. National Ticket Company is still around as well. That's where we get tickets. So you guys see a lot of the, for some reason, all the product gets pushed to the back here. S&B Candy and Toy. Awesome. And who's this? Playtime Toys. I don't get from them very much. I think they're around. Fun Express was huge at the time. All the redemption counter stuff. There's so much product back here. King Plush. I think he's still around. HMS Monaco. Definitely around. It's more advertising plush kits. More of that same. The Toy Barn. I believe they're still around as well. I don't even want to look at the prices. I'll cry. Electronic Labs is an important company. They actually manufactured most of the early ticket eaters and ticket dispensers. Unfortunately, Entropy beat them out later on. Don't even know if they're still around, but you'll see a lot of Deltronic ticket dispensers. More redemption tickets. Locks. You get into some weird stuff in the back here, because this is where the real estate is a lot cheaper. And this is an unusually long, just because it's got the directory in it. So Buyer's Bulletin is where the really cheap ads are. You're going to see some hands-on training. Is that Randy Fromm? Holy crap, my shout out to Randy Fromm. His videos are the best if you want to learn stuff. That's where I was trained. Some ads for some auctions, super auctions. I think they're still going, actually. Let me see much else, guys. Let's see. More locks. Let's see, this is where you see a lot of the distributors advertising. You see a lot of used game stuff. Coin counters. Oops. Poker machines. Makers of the chairs apparently want to sell direct. You see there's some distributors that want to sell some old equipment. It'd be kind of cool to look at some of these pinball prices. Let's have a look at that. It'll make you cry. Godzilla 1855. Too many good ones. Star Wars Episode 138. I think that was a relatively new game, so. Whirlwind. There's one that's going to make you cry. $895. I think that game's like $2,000 or $3,000 a day. Austin Powers. Black Knight 2000. Man. Wow. Shadow. Here's another one. $1,200. Wow. I'm crying. That's not good. Here's another one. Where's the pinballs? No. This is all mostly new stuff. Doctor Who, $11.50. I was hoping for more. Well, I'm sure we'll find some more. Let's look. Here we go. Let's see if we can find some here. Dragon Games. No pinballs. Here we go. Ace Distributors. Oh man. Some of these were high, actually, at the time. And these would have been marked up at the time. These are pretty marked up for the time. But some of them Popeye. Slugfest, look at that. I just sold one for $3,000. Crazy. Well, I think we're pretty much at the end of our rope here. We've cried about pinball prices. I'm sure I'll find some more pinball prices to cry about. So, let's see if there's any ads at the end here. Oh, there's usually one. Oh, here's a cool game. El Dorado. They've actually sort of remade this game with the little guy in the center and you gotta knock all the coins off. I can't remember what the new one's called, but this is the first one. It's made by Skee-Ball, and some Chinese companies made it now. The little pillar in the center, I believe, yeah, and you gotta knock all the coins off around it. This is the original. I don't know what the new one's called. Someone will have to correct me in the comments, but it was a pretty rad idea at the time. And at the back we'll have our benchmark ad. And you can see some familiar favorites here. Wheel Deal, Gold Zone, Bubba's Excavation Company. You don't see these cranes so much anymore. They weren't very good. Super Drillmatic, which is something you don't really see. Another cool game is that you don't ever see is this one called Whirlwind. This is kind of the precursor to the Tickets for Prizes thing, but it was all internal, so it had a little bit of a puck game, kind of like Wheel Deal, and you would earn points up the side, and then you could pick from the prize tree or the bends. It was kind of like there's a game, and you just keep playing, and you win more points. Didn't go over very well for some reason, but there you go, guys. That was a look at the January 2003 Replay magazine. If you want to see me do more of these videos, be sure to give me a comment and like this video. And as far as that goes, I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon or TeePublic.